All right. So I'm going to do a quick short video right now because I have a friend who doesn't like the longer videos. But let me do a brief introduction. I'm Austin. I am a Air Force veteran. Collectively, I have spent 10 years in the Air Force. I, at one point, had considered myself a lifer. I was going to stay in for at least 20. I was considering staying for longer, especially after meeting one of my chief master sergeants in San Antonio. Uh, Chief Martinez is an awesome guy, and if you've ever had the chance to meet him, he is what an airman should be. That's yeah, it's it. Um, and when I was in the Air Force, I spent a good amount of that time um, in church. I was a white rope during tech school and basic training, which, if you don't know, that means I worked for the chapel. Um, it was non-denominational. We let people of any faith in. That's what I thought that was supposed to be. I thought that chapels and churches and buildings of faith were supposed to be non-denominational, or at least be like Epcot. Like, why don't we have like malls that are the different faiths? Like, why don't we take malls and make them the new churches? Like, take these buildings that are also awesome and like make some gravitas and use these rooms that already echo and put awesome murals on the wall. Make them places of art, graffiti art even. But it's really street art. It's people's art. But have one of the stores be a mosque. Have one of turn it into a mosque. Not it's a store that it's a mosque. It's its own place now. Consecrate it. Do your what you need to make it holy. I will help break ground on that. If you will help me get to there to you, I will meet you where you are to help you break ground. And that is not a bluff. I don't have the money. I'm not asking for money. I can get on a bus. I've gone all the way to I've gone all the way from Maine to Louisiana on a bus. I've and back. I've driven from California all the way to Maine. Not all in one go. Actually, I've driven from Seattle all the way to Vegas and California all the way to to Vegas, and Vegas to Texas, and Texas to Maine, and all these different places. I've lived across this entire country, and in those times I've met so many people of different faiths, predominantly Christians. And I will say the majority of the people I've met who are actually Christians, the ones who actually practice faith, that faith, what Jesus said, the red text in the Bible, not the rest, because the Ethiopian Bible I believe to be the true full 88 books, but that's not important right now. I am not religious. I am not necessarily spiritual either. I am, but I've will go back to a church, and I would like to visit the Pope. I would like to meet the Pope. I think that Pope Leo, this Pope, is good. I like him. I hope he's a good guy. I hope he is as honest as he seems, and as genuine as he seems, and as authentic as he seems. Because I would love to meet, if I could shake the Pope's hand on July 4th and meet him wherever he is going to be. I know he's traveling, but I just don't know if if not, no worries. But after July 4th, before July 4th, I don't know. We travel to meet you. If it just doesn't line up, it doesn't. That's fine. If it's whatever, I'll meet you in the States if you're not avoiding the States. If you are, then fine. I'll meet you in China if you're fine with that. I would love to go to China. I've always wanted to go to the Great Wall. I've always wanted to visit the that gate of heaven, that natural archway with the stairs. Imagine meeting the Pope, me, and then Imagine me cutting my beard off and my hair off at the it's a spiritually agnostic location. Imagine me. Obviously, I'm just Austin. I'm just a guy. I had to be basically bald and clean shaven for like 10 years of my life, not bothered by shaving. I just don't like doing it. Like, so I'll just cut it off and let it regrow, right? Or let it and style it on the way. Whatever. Make it fun. Pull a Rick. I almost said Rick and Morty. Pull a Rhett and Link. Like go through and do a whole thing. But imagine a guy who looks like this standing across, or letting the Pope symbolically cut my pride because I'm not Jesus. I'm not Samson. My pride isn't my hair. My pride isn't my beard. My image is not attached to my beard or my hair. So imagine me and the Pope and Stephen Colbert and all these people on this list, and Nico, all these people at the gate to heaven in China on July 4th instead of the United States. We can celebrate America, but we can celebrate the America that I know. The America I know is from when I lived in Okinawa, and I met one of the loves of my life. There's a woman out there whose name I know and whose face I remember, but I've never been able to find. And it's like one of those movies where you're like, how do I do this? I don't know how to do this. How do you find the person that you... But imagine the heavenly gates in China on July 4th, the Pope, all these people, Aniko, Livingston, like this amazing, spiritually agnostic, politically agnostic, peaceful protest. Get Hassan Piker, get all these people who aren't... You know what? The only rule is if you've ever worn a red cuff, you're off limits. You cannot join. I would say maybe no red hat wearers too, but I've met some people who were MAGA, who aren't, or who might not be in the future. And I choose to love that part of them, the person who's not MAGA in them. And if somebody like my father if somebody like my dad, if somebody like my father Kyle and I can talk, because we talk, and we do not see eye to eye a lot, but we talk. We don't yell at each other. It's a talk. It's a conversation. And he and I are opposites politically. He and I are opposites spiritually. I would say I am the person who probably maybe has Rhett beat as far as Jesus lookalike contest. Imagine if we held a Jesus lookalike contest in China at the Great Wall or at the Heavenly Gates with the Pope, and it's a bunch of non-Jesuses cutting their beards. That would be so symbolic, wouldn't it? It's an act of choice. It's men who are cutting their pride. It's so much. We could do so much with an event like this. This is just an idea. I'm just spitballing. But I'm totally willing, if it's for charity, if it's for my nephews and niece to come into this world and be offered this instead of this. Like, this is how we greet babies, right? That is how we greet babies. So why not do something like that? And so I mentioned Josh Johnson because I came to Maine originally out of anger. Not to Maine specifically, but I found Maine because my original goal was anger. I was heading to um, I was heading to DC. I was gonna join the protest. That's all. I just wanted to join the protest, and I was very upset because I was in Vegas, and I was seeing all these people being mistreated around the world. I mean, when USAID was cut, when we see people like Epstein being called out and nothing being done, and then it requiring an entire stadium to point out the other problem, and it took a genius like Kendrick Lamar, another person that's not on this list, but I would love to do an anti Elon version of Not Like Us, because I am of the opinion and of the belief and of it's an internal knowing that I'm autistic and ADHD, and I in holding that and knowing that, I know that I want to be a voice, a positive voice, and an advocate for my people. And when I think of my people, I think of those autistic children who have a voice. They just haven't found how to share it yet. Whether it's through typing, through telepathy, or through having somebody like me just let them know they're heard, then why not? Right? But I believe that in my heart of hearts that I am autistic and ADHD. And if I get sat down and I am diagnosed as just having CPSD or something else that seems to sometimes manifests similarly to autism or ADHD, then that's how it happens. But I wanted to just say that Graham Plattner is the person in my area who seems to be the right guy for the job. And I really hope he is. Please, please, Graham, be the right guy for the job. Because I will be voting for you if if I get to meet you in person and we shake hands and we have a conversation and I end that conversation, and honestly I'd like to be your friend. I don't, that's we live not too far from each other. I'd like to be your friend. I think you'd be a nice guy to hang out with. But what matters is if I can shake your hand and if I can feel that I can trust you, and then also then you prove it, then I will have your back. I'm loyal. I am like a German Shepherd. I am loyal. And when I think of German Shepherds, I think of my friend Jen. She raises or has raised and trains canines for search and rescue and other similar services. And she's awesome. And she is she's another one of those women that I think of as like a pit bull. And I think of it as a good way. It's a good thing in my mind. But when I mention, you know, these different things, and I hope that with Graham and other individuals that you at least take your time to look for context, because I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus, and neither is Graham. and I've only got one tattoo, and I was worried was I had made so many mistakes going into it and afterwards, and I didn't drink, so I I can't imagine going out with your friends and getting, that. Yeah, I get it. It's one of the things. I made mistakes while drinking. No worries. But I'm hoping if that's all it was, that's totally fine. And I think that's what we should understand is that he chose a tattoo on his body. He covered it up. I don't think the cover up was what I would go with, but maybe it's his cup of tea. I'm not gonna judge. It's not. I'm not here to judge. Again, I'm just Austin, and I just want. I'm Austin. My father's name is Kyle. My mother's name is Dawn. That's like that's as far as I'm willing to go. Like that's as far as my family is concerned. Right now, that's it. I've mentioned enough, but when it comes to why I came to Maine, I was gonna join the protest. I was gonna join the protest in D.C. I had my. I was gonna I kind of want to do like a peaceful like hippie like van caravan like old school 70s style, but with all the learning from all the mistakes. Let's do it again. Like we saw the monks travel across America. Let's do something like that, but I don't know. Maybe I can have AC and an airbag. I don't know. I think Jessi might prefer a tent, and then maybe an RV, and then maybe a car, and then maybe a sidecar for a motorcycle. I don't know. I want this to be an adventure, and I think she would like this to be an adventure. So let's make this an adventure, all of you. Let's make this an adventure. Help me, help Graham get into office because I could run for office, and I really don't want to get into politics. Please, please, Graham, do it right so that people like me who could do it right don't have to. Please, I really don't want who wants that job? You seem to want it, and I hope you're good at it. I hope you're the right guy for it because man, more power to you, but that's not my cup of tea.